Alright, it's been a little while since I did any sort of zine or book review, and I've gotten quite a few zines from a friend of mine, so I thought I'd go over a couple of them. First, you'll see right here we have a couple that are more tour dogs. Both of these are in color. I just got this one. Kind of an interesting one where a guy does a lot of sort of indoor street photography at a mall in the very early 90s, I think, like probably late 80s, early 90s. And the images are kind of shot from the hip and a little out of focus in a lot of cases, but it is kind of interesting. He does a really good job of kind of capturing that feel of the late 80s, early 90s, especially that sort of mall culture that's kind of been lost. I found this one to be pretty interesting, and yeah, thought that was a pretty good one. We have this one here I don't think I showed before, which is from sort of a local street photography collective, and by local I mean local to like the San Francisco area, not to me. And you have various photos. I think there's about 2 photos from each member, most of them 2-page spreads. This one I'm a little dubious on. Some of the work is good, but I'm not a big fan of just having this really random sample of what I'd call unremarkable street photography from a whole lot of different people. I don't think it really works that great, if we're being honest, but it is kind of interesting just to see a sample of sort of a collective and some street photography. We have this one right here. This is an independently published one, I think, and it is called Souvenirs. This one is beautiful. It has a very much reminds me of Martin Parr and like The Last Resort. You got a lot of these photos of kind of a beach town, various people who live there, a lot of different stuff. Some of the photos are a little bit more explicit, so I'll probably have to skip over a few, but very interesting, very nice colors, very nice use of flash. Some of the images I was talking about, but not too bad. But it is a very interesting layout. It's very clean. There's an interesting variety of stuff, and I really like this one. Again, I feel it must have taken a lot of inspiration from Martin Parr and his work, because I see a lot of parallels, and I don't know, I'm really fascinated by this one, and I'd kind of like to do something like that myself someday. That's one of them. This is the follow-up to that one zine from Mexico I was talking about. I really like this one. It's got an interesting print quality. It's got these kind of decorative staples. It has got a little water damage on the cover. That happened to the other one too. It's on this interesting paper too that's kind of like construction paper and has a slight yellow hue to it, and it gives these images a very interesting vintage look. I like his photography. Some of it's very simple, but some of them like that I think are very powerful and very intriguing. Same there. Those are very, very fascinating images. Even the way he left the kind of film slide there. That's just nice lighting. Very, very interesting images. I'd like to get the rest of this. I think there's 4 books in this series, and I'd like to have the whole thing, because I've enjoyed the first 2 quite a bit. Yeah, there's 4 of them. Circa about 2018. So they've been out for a while. Might be a little hard to find them, but I enjoyed the first 2. Try to pick up the 3rd and 4th if I can find them. But yeah, very nice photos, and even more so the print quality and the design quality is just immaculate. I've never seen a zine quite like this. It's probably more impressive than a lot of books I've seen, if we're being honest. Lastly, more or less lastly, we come to this. These are Cafe Royal books. I've gotten about 6 of these from a couple shipments from a friend of mine. And these are basically all, I guess, historical kind of documentary type photos. Most of them seem to come from the UK around the 70s and 80s. A lot of street photography type stuff. Again, you could probably see there's a lot of, probably at least some Martin Parr type influences on some of them. But you could probably also see a lot of Robert Frank type influences and a lot of other photographers of the olden days. And these are not necessarily my favorite. I mean, you have some really nice images. Some of them are a little weird and boring, but some of them I think are very good. You've just got very good images. Not a big fan of this split, but still a good image. And just a very interesting little peek into the not too distant past, but a time that I wasn't alive in and never got to see. So it's very interesting to me to have a little peek and kind of look at the living conditions and economic conditions of what it was like to be in a different country in a different era. Kind of go through these. And again, there's a pretty wild variety of images, and some of them cover specific events and stuff. A lot of them seem to be more generalized street photography type stuff and sort of portfolio type things by people I would have to assume are photojournalists. I did no research on these. I've just received a few of them. I don't even know anything about the company. I know it's a smaller company. I think they also publish a lot of larger books, not just zines. But I don't know much. I probably should have done a little research. But hey, if you want to know more, you can always hop on Google, and I'm sure you can find out anything I could have found. But we have some pretty interesting stuff there. And here's one of the last ones going into the 90s. Very interesting stuff. Good print quality. There's a good consistency. They all have a pretty consistent layout and design. You know, the colors and everything. They're all black and white, but they have a nice high contrast black and white. I don't know. Just pretty solid little zines there. Not necessarily something I would have picked up myself, but I'm glad to have them. Very interesting to look through them and to kind of study them. And I think I learned a little bit because, as you might have seen, I kind of put together my own zine. This is my most recent one. I just got a little bit of... I guess color film photography is pretty much all that's in here. All shot on 35mm. I have a little, sort of a, I don't know what you call it, a label I kind of hand pasted in there, and they're individually numbered. I was like having that kind of feel where they're very unique and one of a kind. Got a decent spread of images in here, all shot on 35mm film photography. A lot of it on the Nikon rangefinders. A few of them were actually shot on the Nikon FM. I could probably point out which ones, but it would take some time. And there's just an interesting little selection of images in here that I put together, and I'm pretty proud of it. I designed the cover myself. If you're interested, I have them listed on my website. I'll provide a link below. They're $15 each. That includes shipping in the U.S. If you live outside the U.S., contact me and I can maybe organize something. But if you're interested, I've got my zine out. There's at least 15 copies left. It's limited to 25, so there's not too many of them. But if you act fast, you might be able to get one. Hopefully you enjoyed this little video, and hopefully you pick up my zine and kind of support some of my work. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll be back a little bit sooner with another video.